If a modern person woke up beneath the ground tonight, the first enemy would not be a monster. It would be the air. The chest would tighten. The torch would smoke. Every sound would feel too close. And after only minutes in total darkness, the mind would start creating shapes that were not there. For ancient humans, the underground world was not an adventure. It was a bargain with death. They entered caves to escape cold, predators, storms, enemies, and hunger. But every step deeper demanded payment: light, breath, courage. And sometimes the people who came back out were not the same people who went in. This is the horrifying truth about how ancient humans survived underground. And by the end of this history documentary, the most disturbing part will not be the darkness. It will be the realization that caves did not simply shelter humanity. They may have changed the way humans feared, remembered, and survived forever. Long before cities, roads, or written language, the ground itself became a fortress. Prehistoric humans found openings in cliffs, limestone tunnels, volcanic caves, and deep rock shelters. From the outside, these places looked like safety. No freezing wind, no open sky filled with predators, no storm tearing through camp. But inside, safety became complicated. A cave protected the body while attacking the mind. It removed the sun. It trapped smoke. It carried strange echoes. It turned every footstep into a warning. The first thing ancient humans had to defeat underground was darkness. Without light, a cave was a living trap. One wrong turn could separate a person from the group forever. One wet stone could break a leg far from daylight. So fire became more than warmth. It became a map. Archaeologists studying prehistoric caves have found signs of repeated fires, torch marks, burned lamps, and charcoal deep beyond natural light. That means humans were not just hiding near entrances. They were going in. But carrying fire underground created another problem: smoke. In a small chamber, smoke did not disappear. It crawled across ceilings, filled narrow passages, burned eyes, and made breathing harder. Ancient humans had to learn which caves could breathe. They needed airflow, openings, dry chambers, and places where a fire could burn without turning shelter into a tomb. The thumbnail asks one simple question: no air. And for many prehistoric families, that question could decide who survived the night. But oxygen was only the beginning. The second horror was water. Underground water could save a group, or destroy it. In some caves, dripping stone meant survival. In others, sudden flooding could erase every footprint within minutes. Early humans had to read the underground the way sailors read the sea: damp walls, animal tracks, cold air from cracks, distant rushing sounds. These were not details, they were warnings. Then came the animals. Modern people imagine caves as empty rooms waiting for humans. They were not. Caves belonged to bears, hyenas, big cats, snakes, insects, and creatures that could smell better, see better in darkness, and attack without warning. Ancient humans were not entering abandoned houses. They were invading dens. The underground was shared territory, and sharing with predators was never peaceful. So humans began to transform caves into controlled spaces. They placed fires near entrances. They used stones, branches, and bones to block wind and animals. They slept together in groups, not because it was comfortable, but because silence was dangerous. A lone sleeper was vulnerable. A group could listen, wake, defend, and move. Underground survival was never about one heroic hunter. It was about the tribe staying alert while exhaustion tried to break them. This is where the story becomes stranger. Once humans learned to survive underground, they began using caves for more than survival. Deep inside ancient caves, far beyond daylight, researchers have found paintings, handprints, symbols, and animal figures. This was not casual decoration. Someone carried light into darkness, risked smoke, fear, and injury, then placed images on stone walls where only a few people could see them. Why? No one knows for certain, but one idea is powerful. The underground became a memory chamber, a place where fear could be turned into meaning. Stories told in that darkness taught where to hunt, which animals to avoid, and which path led back to daylight. A child could see a painted beast moving in torchlight and never forget the warning. Fear made memory sharp. In that sense, caves may have been prehistoric classrooms, temples, and survival manuals all at once. But not every underground shelter was sacred. Some were desperate. When food disappeared, caves became storage rooms, workshops, and last refuges. Bones were cracked for marrow. Hides were scraped. Stone tools were repaired. Wet wood was dried near small fires. Nothing was wasted because underground life punished waste quickly. A broken tool could mean no meat. A dead fire could mean no heat. A blocked entrance could mean panic. And then there was the deepest fear of all, being trapped. A cave-in did not need to bury an entire group to destroy them. It only needed to block one passage, seal one chamber, or separate a child from the fire. Ancient people had no steel tools, no rescue teams, no printed maps. Their map was memory. Their rescue system was the people beside them. This made trust a survival technology. Underground survival demanded cooperation. Someone gathered fuel. Someone watched children. Someone kept embers alive. Someone remembered which passage turned left and which slope became dangerous after rain. The cave rewarded groups that communicated clearly. It punished groups that panicked. Neanderthals understood this world long before modern humans spread across much of it. They lived with caves, cold, predators, and darkness for hundreds of thousands of years. Evidence suggests they cared for injured members, used fire, made tools, and understood difficult landscapes. They were not stupid cave brutes. They were survivors. But when modern humans arrived, something changed. Bigger networks, wider exchange, more symbols, more stories, more ways to pass warnings from one group to another. And underground, information mattered. A group that knew which cave flooded could avoid it. A group that knew where dry chambers stayed warm could return there. A group that shared routes and warnings had an advantage over a group forced to learn everything through suffering. This is why the underground may have helped shape one of humanity's greatest powers, collective memory. But there is a final twist. The caves never fully left the human mind. Modern humans still feel it. A dark hallway raises alertness. A small closed room changes breathing. Firelight feels calming even when it is unnecessary. Echoes in a tunnel can make the skin tighten before the brain knows why. These reactions come from ancestors who learned that darkness was information, that silence could mean danger, and that shelter could become a trap. That is why the story of ancient humans underground is not just about caves. It is about the moment humans learned to survive inside fear. They entered the earth because the surface was deadly. Then the underground forced them to master fire, memory, cooperation, storytelling, and caution. It gave them shelter, but it also gave them nightmares. In the end, the most horrifying thing ancient humans did underground was not a single act. It was returning there again and again, knowing the air could fail, knowing predators might be waiting, knowing one wrong turn could erase a life. They still entered because survival left them no cleaner choice. Before humanity built houses above the earth, it learned to negotiate with the darkness below it. And somewhere in those black chambers, besides smoke, stone, and trembling firelight, the modern human mind began to take shape.